everyone, and welcome back to the 168-hour challenge. It's Callum here again, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the second episode. For those that are just joining us for the first time, please check out episode 1, as it explains a lot about what the project is and gives you a bit of background and more information about what's going on. For those who are joining us after watching the first one, let's get into it. So, in the last episode, if you've watched it, I gave you a little bit of information about what the 160 challenge is, what it's going to involve, not evolve, but it will evolve actually. It will evolve as we're going, because I told you that it's a bit of exploration about my ability to do this whole challenge. So now I'm going to just talk a little bit about the application itself. I purposely didn't talk about it in the first video because I was away off doing a little bit of research, and I wanted to do a video to talk about the specifics of what I'm building, and then I wanted to hit the button, get on with some work, build it to the 168 hours, and then come back and finish off the second video with a little bit of the initial planning and building planning and research that I've done. So exciting times. So let me introduce you to the application. It's called Scrapbooking. As you can see from the top, that is the domain name that I purchased for it. It doesn't have any vowels because it's a bit of a pain trying to get one that could actually get the whole word scrapbooking. And then I tried a couple other really cool short ones as a kind of indie dev approach to it. That didn't work either, so I landed on scrapbooking just to get a domain out there so I could crack on with the exciting part of it and the most important part of it, which is actually building the application. So let's fire through a small summary of it to get you guys into the mix and feel about what the web application is going to be. So it's essentially going to be an online scrapbook creation web app. As I'll talk about in a minute, I know there's a number of applications that do this out there, but this is not something that I feel is going to revolutionize anything online. It's just something that I want to build and apply this challenge to. So don't, start telling me that it's already been done. I know it's been done. This is probably going to come and go. It might not do anything, but that's not the important part. So the next part I want to talk about in terms of the summary of the web application is that it will allow users to collate visuals that they find online and offline into digital scrapbooks. So any photos or images that you have on your phone or from your digital SLR, I want the ability that users can to upload them to the web application. Last bit is that it's going to be designed to allow users to create and manage these collections, and allow them to create collections and really be a tool that people going from one end of the spectrum of creating wedding visual plans and research ideas all the way through to guys like me who are techie and in the design industry. Let anybody who needs a collection of visuals put together digitally like a scrapbook, this should allow you to do that. Why scrapbooking? Just before I move on, why scrapbooking, you guys might be asking? Well, I did it when I was at university. I did it a little time during my art years at high school. It was great. I really enjoyed it, but now everything's moved to digital. It's you use a lot of money on printer, toner, or ink, depending on which part of the world that you're watching this from, and paper, and it can be quite expensive to do nowadays. There was a time where everything was pretty much in print. There was a small part of it online, but we still printed out a lot of our online stuff. Now that's almost completely gone. Everything is digital because that's free. So, I want to go back to scrapbooking, but I think digital is the way forward for that. So moving on, here's a small list of sites at web applications that do scrapbooking in a sense that I'm going to be taking inspirations from. I won't rattle through the whole list. Some of them will jump out at you straight away. The most obvious one is Pinterest. I know it does like 90% of what I need, what this application will do, but there's umpteen email suppliers and file uploading and all that sort of stuff. Just because there's one that does it really well doesn't mean that everybody's going to stop making them. So Pinterest is definitely one I'm going to take some inspiration from, but there is parts of it which I don't quite like, so I'm going to try and identify them and ensure that I make something that improves on what Pinterest do. But they're great guys to get. It's a great application to get inspiration from. CloudUp, just to highlight for a split second, fantastic image uploading and hosting application. Great for if you want to throw up screenshots really quickly. Got inbuilt Mac apps and stuff like that. So I think it's invite only, but I have an account. I've used it for quite a while. So if you're interested in CloudUp, well, I suggest go check it out if you don't know what it is. But if you're interested, hit me up and I'll throw you an invite and we'll get you on there, and it will change the way where you stick, or change the process of how you stick up quick screenshots and images for sharing. And then there's obvious ones like Instagram and Flickr, which have amazing image uploading abilities that'll look for inspiration as well. So there's just a quick list of ones I've identified that will do that do similar things to what I'm hoping scrapbooking will do, and I will be looking at them for good points and bad points. So a quick rundown of the main features. This list of features are the features I'm going to be aiming to get into the agile / bootstrap version of this app. I hope to get all of them in. If I don't, some of them I'll keep out, but this is the core list I would like to get in. So let's hit them up. Add photos, maybe that should say add images, but the ability to add images, crucial, has to be done. Next is the create and management of image collections. Again, pretty straightforward, so that's pretty much mandatory. Image tagging, maybe you've got a collection of things that you're talking about, like UX and UI elements that you found on multiple sites. Maybe inside that you want to tag them things as like buttons, menus, navigation, etc. The ability to tag them in their own individual types, what they actually are, and then allowing you to search in a collection for images that have that tag, I think is going to be quite popular. Image tagging is one that if I run out of time, I will push to a future feature list that I'm going to show you in a second. So I'd love to do it. I think it would be cool to do it, but if I don't have time, I will sacrifice it. Next is the ability to create screen grabs of full page websites. So that's if you see a website and you like the design of it, you want to be able to throw a URL into the scrapbooking app. It will then take a screenshot of that entire website and save it as an image for you. And the ability to create a screen grab of specific images on a web page, same sort of thing, chuck in a URL, and then what I want it to do is to give the user a list of images on that page. They can select the image they want to save, click on it, and then it saves it as an image into a collection. Next is the ability to share collections digitally. Again, pretty obvious. The ability to make collections private or public. Again, that's something that is quite popular to do. I know some places let you do it, some places don't let you do it. This is another one that if I don't have time, I will sacrifice as well, but I think I should be able to have enough time to fit that in. And lastly, user profiles. Just identify that I'm going to be making a login section with the ability for people to manage their profiles. So that's a list of the core features there. Some of them are pretty obvious, so I think they're pretty much standard. But like I said, there's two in there I think that I'm willing to sacrifice in terms of time management, but that's just a contingency plan there. So inside the solid future feature list, these are features that I don't think I'll have time, and they're ones I've just noted down that I've moved from the features column into future features because again I don't think I will have time. First one is the ability to add comments to photos. That should probably read add images, add notes to images, but comments to photos works. That's the ability for someone to add notes to an image, as I've just said really, but it's for individual use if you want to talk about why you've put it in the collection or where you found it from, etc. Don't think it's urgent, probably a future thing, so that's why it's in there. Next one is download collections for offline use. You're going to have the internet to access this somehow, so offline downloading of a collection for you to use on the go wherever, or when you don't have internet access, for example. Really cool idea, but it's not vital. You're going to have the internet to access this, so yeah, that's another future one. And finally, analytics for you to see how well people are, or how many people are interacting with your collection that you've shared digitally. Again, not vital. It's not going to be the first thing people ask for, I would imagine, but it's definitely something I've identified for something in the future. So that is what I hope was a quick fire go through notes that I've done. Now I'm going to hit the big red button and start this challenge going. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go do some research, some initial planning, user flow, application flow, but all this now is going to be built. So hold on to your hats, people. We are getting started. Hey everyone, so that's me an hour now into the challenge, broken the first wave. I've been doing some basic user flow within the app to work out what screens go where, and what I've also done is I've also done a basic sketching, outlining of the pages and what sort of things will appear on them, but nothing too detailed yet. So I'm at the stage where I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go in and start working on the code to do a bootstrap version of it. So that will be no styling, just basic framework, which will probably be Bootstrap itself, and just to test out how buttons react and screen flow and how that all works from these preliminary research sections. So that's it for this episode. Now I'm going to go off and start doing the building. I will give you an update in the next episode how I'm getting on with that. So thanks very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you're enjoying this challenge so far, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're watching on anything like Vimeo, for example, please subscribe to the video links. I think is by following it. I'm not sure. But thank you very much for tuning in. Take it easy, guys, and I'll catch you next time.